Greetings, everyone. Welcome to THL's Hearthcenter, your favorite Tuesday or Wednesday night show, bringing you the latest update of what is going on in THL. I'm one of your hosts, Lotus Knight, and I am joined by my amazing regular crew here. First, Azalea Kari is here. Azalea, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. Excited to be back for another week. And yeah, there we go.
And Geranium Battle is here to my right.
Yes, happy to be here. Another pretty great week.
For sure. And finally, Super Chicken is here. Chicken, how are you doing?
Hey, doing pretty well, thanks.
Now, we have quite the show planned for you all tonight. We're going to do Player of the Week, we're going to do Hero, we're going to do Wild. There's so much to talk about for Player of the Week. We're going to talk about some of the series. So, I'm going to take this opportunity to bring everyone right in. Are you all ready?
Yes.
Yep.
Go.
Also, I just want to remind everyone, this is, I believe, today is the preview of our first Corrupted commercial. So I'm sure all our viewers are excited for that. So with no further ado, let's hop to Player of the Week. We're going to start with our Hero Player of the Week. Azalea, who's our Hero Player of the Week?
Our hero player of the week is Jammies. In a battle of longtime THL players, Jammy's got a big sweep in a must-win scenario to give a premium mountain the week win. Congratulations on a bounce back win and player of the week.
For sure. Congratulations, Jammies, on getting Hero Player of the Week. Geranium, can you tell us our Legacy Player of the Week?
Of course, but it is a wild player because Mojo Powell is the Legacy Player of the Week. In his return to THL, the Rollover King got it done Sunday night, winning the week for the Justins. Who needs to adjust lineups for nerfs when you're this good? Just win. Congrats, Mojo Powell, on the huge win and player of the week.
Congratulations, Mojo Powell, on quite the result. Meanwhile, let's take a look at Pro Series. Now, I'm going to ask Chicken to tell us about who got it for Pro.
Our pro player of the week is none other than Nice Jewish Owl. One of the coolest aspects of THL, even in an open decklist series such as Pro, is seeing the creative lineups that players create and play. One such lineup came from Nice Jewish Owl this week in the form of Aggro Naga Demon Hunter, Naga Mage, Naga Priest, and Miracle Rogue in his Game 5 victory in a very close week between Staff of the Four Dubs and Owl and Aussie Pro Mafia to help his team stay undefeated 2 weeks in. Congrats on Player of the Week.
Congratulations on Player of the Week, Nice Jewish Owl. And finally, Chicken, why don't you tell us as well our Wild Player of the Week? I'm sure you know a lot about them.
Yes, our Wild Player of the Week is obviously a player I know very well in Neon Heron. Big Shaman claims another victim this week, helping Neon Heron out to a 3-2 win. The result gave his team WTF a 16-10 win over the previously perfect Staff of the Five Dubs, moving themselves to a perfect 2-0 season. So congrats to Neon Heron, and thank you to Bone Masher for the submission.
Thank you for the submission, Bone Masher. And now, I want to take this opportunity to ask everyone, what do you need to do if you want to make Player of the Week?
Well, if you are a captain of a team and you want to give kudos to one of your players, or even to a player that went against your team, you can use the form that one of us from the committee will post in the captain's channel. And as a player, typically get it by winning, but also potentially being really creative with your lineups and winning.
Fair.
Go
ahead.
I will say that captains see the form. Players currently do not see the form, but if you are a player and you have some kudos to share or someone to point out, tell your captain. They can submit the form. Just tell them what to say, and we'll get it submitted.
If you want to submit your captain, you can also DM Geranium or Azalea, and I'm sure they'll be able to help you with that.
Of course.
But with that out of the way, should we move on to our first series of the night?
Absolutely.
So we're going to start by taking a look at everyone's favorite series hero. And to look at our first hero match, Azalea is going to tell us about Dola facing a precarious moment. Go ahead, Azalea.
Oh, what are we talking? I'm sorry. My brain.
Oh, no worries. I'll start with Geranium then. Geranium, why don't you tell us about Dola facing a precarious moment?
Oh, okay.
Oh no, I'm the one who has to talk about this match. Okay, well, what is this? The fourth season in a row or something like that, where Dola beats up APM. Well, yeah, Dola took it to us again, 16-12. They stay undefeated in the season, whereas APM stays winless. But it was a pretty close match. All that being said, because it went back and forth. I believe it started with. I think it might have started with Molstar taking the very close Game 5 win over Ron Mexico. They played pretty early in the week. Then I believe it went to Saku taking a Game 4 win over Epicat. I think it was mostly off the back of Plague DK. Dragon Rider, I believe, went next and took the Game 5 win over Bone Masher. And then Pace made it come down to the final match by getting a Game 5 win over 2-star Mako. And Heat Shock ended up taking the final match. As you can see, it was a mirror of classes and basically a mirror of decks as well, as he took a Game 4 win over Wild 9.
Nice. Now, Chicken, I'll ask you, what do you think about this match? Any interesting thoughts?
Yeah, certainly an APM team like this is not one that I would have expected to be 0-2 2 weeks in. But this was another fairly close week for them where, it kind of came down to the last match of the week. And they still did manage to pick up 12 points even in a loss. So I think this team should, balance out a little bit with their points. I think Wild 9, very notoriously, struggles in Hero for some reason, as opposed to other series where he generally performs really well. So we'll have to see how it plays out for him, because he is a very, very talented player, but I think
seats now too.
he just does not like the format. But surely in the 3 seed he'll start to pick up some wins. But this team is super, super talented. So I wouldn't be surprised if they started get their wins rolling and eventually make playoffs.
For sure. This is both of these are crazy teams, so it's a matter of time until they start winning a lot. How many people make playoffs in TL? Does anyone know?
Top 4.
4.
Okay, so it's going to be a tough check with, 8 teams vying for the position. But speaking of tough check, let's take a look at our second match. We have Ogre Out of Bounds Exception, facing a Premium Mountain. And Azalea is going to tell us about this one.
Okay. Awesome. So this one we have Laughing Frogs APM team against Ogre Out of Bounds Exception. We have up in the 1 seed, we have Always Just in Time taking a sweep over Chewy. We have Critical taking a 3-1 victory over a Harmless Dog. But for APM, we had F Sriracha 1 taking a Game 4 over Rockdew. We have Yfair getting a Game 5 win over Roofski. And to close it out, Jammies with a sweep win over Bill Snyder to get his team across the line with a win. 13-11, very close week.
Mm-hmm. This is crazy close. Just both teams putting in the effort, and you can see a lot of matches were fairly small number of points. A lot of 3-0s, a lot of 3-1s.
Yeah.
Geranium, what do you have to add here?
Well, something that I do know about a lot of these games, as you can see, the Paladin, the one Paladin brought by Yfair, all these matches were played a little bit, or like submission happened just a little bit before Paladin overtook the meta again. And it was very powerful at the beginning, and then it got nerfed a little bit, and then now people have rediscovered that Paladin is really, really good. And yeah, so we see one submission for Paladin here. There was a mirror submission of Paladin in the previous match we covered. But yeah, I think we're gonna see quite a bit of a shakeup in the actual classes people bring with that nerf, Mage and Warrior being nerfed.
For sure. Do you think that's enough to change the current picture of everyone bringing Mage and Warrior to every single match?
I think probably one of them gets left by the wayside, at least. I think there is a strong case that the classes can get wins. However, I just think that there's a more powerful trio sort of classes right now. So at least one of them probably gets shoved aside.
Fair. Any thoughts on this, Chicken, that you want to add?
Yeah, it's still a fairly, there's a couple of fairly tight groupings there. Like certainly the middle of the pack teams are all still very competitive in my opinion. And I think aside from like F2L Black, who has really started to even pull away, even in just like the first, well, I guess we're a bit part way into the week. But even just looking at their points per week, they're really starting to pull ahead. But I think other than them, it's a very tightly packed conference, at least so far.
It is a very tightly packed conference. I mean, we have F2L kind of quite ahead compared to the rest. So we're going to see what happens here. Any further thoughts about Hero anyone wants to share? All right, then. Let's move on from Hero to take a look at Legacy, because Legacy is also very fun. There's a lot to talk about. We're going to start with Chicken himself telling us about the last dance.
Did you want to go over hero standings?
I mean, we kind of did in the last scene, but if you want to tell us the exact standings, go ahead, Azalea.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. So top of Hero to start last week was F2L Black at 44 points. The last dance was Department of League Administration at 37. The last dance, I have to do math. That's 33 points. Ogre Flow out of bounds exception was at 28. Dad Legend at 26. A Premium Mountain 23. A Precarious Moment at 22. And No Noon Too High sitting at 15 after a very rough week. There's been a lot of matches played this week already. All right.
For sure. Anything else anyone wants to say about Hero? Okay, let's move on to Legacy then, where Chicken can tell us about the last dance facing standard THL degenerates.
Yeah, so just taking a look at this, it was the last dance who is sitting in first place in Gold Conference now. Wait. No, they're second in points per week. But they are sitting near the top of their conference in Gold versus the standard THL degenerates, who have been having a tough first couple of weeks in Legacy Series. Last Dance had Neji Boston, G-Kick, and You Kitten Me all take wins versus STD, and Dr. Bomdi and Risen got wins for their team. So it was still a fairly close 3 matches, 1-2, but that last match for the Last Dance helped them secure the week and helps keep them rolling going forward. Couple notable class choices, seeing 2 Death Knights from STD. I think the Death Knight maybe makes, I guess, potentially more sense in Legacy, where you can try to, I guess, pick on some Highlander decks because your opponent is probably bound to at least have one of those. And the
Yeah,
lineup
Reno's fine.
So potentially some Highlander deck targeting there, maybe a little bit towards the Shaman a bit, but didn't really work out for the 2 STD players, as both of them were unable to secure wins for the week. But certainly an interesting thing to think about going forward.
Mm-hmm.
I will add that that Blood DK is actually also a very solid deck right now. Highlander Blood DK. So there are options with DK at least.
Any further thoughts anyone wants to share about this one? Okay. So let's move on. If no one has any further thoughts on this match, why don't we look at our second Legacy match of the night? Azalea, why don't you tell us about this one, since I'm sure you know some of the people here. We have F2L White facing Just Pimpin'.
All right. So F12 White versus Just Pimpin'. So close match. We had always just in time. Once again, get a sweep. We talked about him getting a sweep in Hero. He swept Robobson in Legacy. Yoxter on the other side for F12 taking a sweep over Infinite, who came in and subbed. We had Chronic sweeping Hudak. I believe that was pretty early in the week. But then the bottom 2 for Justin's team, we got Skirt Reynolds getting a 3-1 over Totino's, and Mojo Powell getting a 3-1 over Probiwan. So overall 12-10. Both teams sitting at a lot. Both teams sitting high up in their conference standings, and just a really, really close match.
For sure. Now, let's see here. Geranium, why don't you tell us a bit about this match in your perspective?
Well, I'll tell you a fun, unfortunate fact, at least, being that Skirt and Mojo played pretty late into the week, scheduled the matches, and then did not really read the announcement properly and did not properly understand when the deadline to submit decks was. So they both rolled over, but turns out DH can still win the match.
They rolled Paladin over too, so that's pretty good.
Yeah. Demon Hunter, or just Hunter, both of those can still win matches.
Yeah.
And yeah, it turns out that that they had a better plan maybe than the people who didn't roll over. So.
Mm-hmm.
Fair. Anything else anyone wants to say about this one?
A lot of class diversity. That's what I notice.
Right? There's a lot of class diversity here. Chicken, anything you want to add?
Yeah, the class diversity is a little bit surprising to me. I mean, a little bit more uniform on the Justin side. They seem to have a pretty good idea of what classes were good. I assume, yeah, Max, you said these were pre-nerfs, right? The first 3?
Yeah. So the top 3 matches were all played pretty early on in the week. So 3 pre-nerf.
Okay, yeah, that's okay. That's what I thought you said. But yeah, so that kind of makes sense. Seeing a lot of mage there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was kind of weird seeing like the same lineup get swept twice and then also sweep on just in time side. Maybe like a little bit to do with different classes on the other side, or maybe just just a bit of variance between how the decks drew. It's hard to say, but it'll be interesting, like seeing Infinite sub in there. I wonder how many more weeks he might play for Justin going forward, because he's certainly a very, very talented player that definitely has had some hot and cold seasons in the past. So really, I find you really don't know which Infinite you're getting on a week-to-week basis.
Fair. Anything else anyone wants to say about this match before we take a look at the standings? Now, Chicken, tell us about the standings for Legacy.
All right, so starting us off in the Gold Conference, we have The Last Dance at 40 points. Then right behind them, and actually ahead in points per week, is Defy Us at 39. Then we have 10 Gallon R-Hats at 31 points. We have Big W Esports at 29 points. Then in the last two spots, kind of neck and neck there, we have STD at 19 and Dad Legend at 18 points. Then moving over to Red Conference, we have a Posse Missing Lost Boys at 40 points. We have F2L White at 34. Then we have Just Pimp In at 32. Then right below them are the Blind Bandits at 25 points. We have E.T. Cthulhu at 24. And rounding out Legacy Series and Red Conference, we have The Stubbs at 15 points.
Nice. So here we have, it's interesting. Both conferences do seem to have interesting shapes with a few people in the back, but quite a few people who dashed a lot from their first match. Of course, there's still a lot of Legacy to go. How many weeks do we have on Legacy?
Oh, we could check. I think it's 7 or 8.
So still a lot of time. Really anything can happen.
Yep, it's 7 weeks. So we have 5 more weeks from here.
For sure. So we'll have to keep an eye out and see who gets it.
Yep.
Any further points anyone wants to mention about Legacy Series? So I'll bring us back to our main screen for our commercial. So I do want to remind all our hosts that this is the perfect opportunity to corrupt a lot the commercial for our first commercial of the season. And to read our first commercial of the season, I believe we have... So last week, Geranium read, right?
I did. I don't care if I can read it again.
I think Azalea should read it this time. So, I'll give a little bit more time. Okay, this sounds good enough for time to make the text as bad and unreadable as anyone can. So, go for it.
All right. Yo. Hey there, Twitch viewers. Have you yet decried Team Hearthly yet? Then make today the day to subscribe yourself to our channel. This subscription enables our team to cover the cost of operating our website, as well as improve the quality of our streams and content to our viewers. If you have Amazon Prime or Twitch Prime, you can subscribe to the channel for free. Subscribers will get a THL emoticon as well as a normal THL chat badge. So flip that thumbs up button and make sure you catch our streams. We appreciate each and every one of you. Special note to our viewers, check out THL's other social media points of interest, our website, teamhearthleague.com. You can follow us on Twitter at THL_HS. You can join us on Discord at Team Hearth League. You can face us on Hearthstone, Natria Beast, hashtag 1683, as well as a normal THL chat badge. The true Hearth legend Saku continues to toast all our videos on our YouTube channel. Just search for Team Hearth League to see everything previously recorded, or don't. Okay. You are better or worse watching us on our Twitch channel or possibly on our YouTube channel yet. And for all you THL fans out there, there are THL match shows most days of the weekend. You can't go wrong tuning in at any time for that THL related content. Now back to the good part. Ka-chow.
Ka-chow indeed. So should we move on to Pro?
Absolutely.
Indeed.
Yep.
All right, so Pro Series, a lot happened there as well. And we're going to start with a fun pro match, taking a look at The Last Dance, facing OPP. And before we go, I just want to thank Azalea for that read. That is the fastest we've messed up the commercial. It's never been this fast.
Yeah, I gave some chances in there. The last one was a little late, so I had to go. But yeah,
But
on to
Pro, where Geranium is going to tell us about The Last Dance versus OPP. Go ahead, Geranium.
I thought we already covered Last Dance. Okay, fine. Last Dance in Pro this time took a pretty good win over opportunistic Pro players, with the only loss coming from Neji Boston, who lost Game 4 to Pilot 7-1-2, I believe, in the last moments of the week. So already going into that was a pretty dominant performance. Aquaman 5-7-5 taking Game 5 win over Labore Sangre. Heat Shock taking Game 5 over Stazari. Agent Peewee took a Game 4 over King Viking 23. And Donkey did the sweeping over Tito Santana.
All right. Let's see. Azalea, what do you think about this one?
I think I'm a little surprised it's a 4-1. But at the same time, The Last Dance is, I mean, it's pretty much a slightly revamped version of college play at retirement home from last season.
Yeah.
Neji losing after probably playing all his matches on the final day is probably a bit disappointing to not get to 20 points, but the rest of the week he'll take it for sure. And just Diamond teams showing up as always, even at the start of the season.
For sure. Chicken, anything you want to say about this one?
Yeah, it's another great week for The Last Dance, and another, unfortunately, disappointing week for opportunistic pro players. Getting 9 points in each of the 2 weeks they've played so far. Already not looking that great for them. They're certainly quite far behind the top teams in their conference, but it is still possible for them to make it. But in pro, I believe it is only the top 2 teams from each conference that make playoffs. So even at 2 weeks in, you really need to start putting in the work if you're getting behind like this, because teams like Brushy Tuna and The Last Dance are, and even the Cheesemongers who are right behind The Last Dance, like these are all teams that were in playoffs last year and made it to the semis. So it is certainly not looking great for teams like All Possible Means and OPP. If they want to make playoffs, they would probably need to have like a pretty crazy miracle run, but it is certainly possible. And we have seen runs like this before, but yeah, even now this pink conference is looking so difficult.
Now, one thing I will mention is that I think that a lot of the decks here are very fun though. We've got Earthen Paladins in the bottom. I don't know if they agreed to bring Earthen Paladin, but it's just funny that both of them have it. Yeah. Automaton Priest, Naga Priest.
Donkey's Naga Priest, yeah. The
Aggro Naga DH, yeah. Like a lot of these really cool decks end up winning these matches, and it just I don't know, it just looks like a really, really cool back and forth.
For sure. Yeah, this was quite interesting, and we get to see the same in our next match when we look at the staff of the 4 Dubs and Owl facing Aussie Pro Mafia. Chicken, tell us about that one.
All right, so taking a look at a match from Black Conference now, we have staff of the 4 Dubs and Owl taking on Aussie Pro Mafia, as Lotus mentioned, and Aussie Pro Mafia the reigning regular season champions are off to a pretty rough start to start this season, just averaging 11.5 points per week.
Hey, Chicken. We from APM would appreciate it if you stopped cursing us by the reigning runners-up.
Yeah, what's going on with it? I thought this team was good. Like, what's happening here?
Yeah.
But yeah, it is. I mean, to be fair, they've played the current first place team in Black Conference this past week, and it was quite a close week, just 3 points apart. But yeah, the difference between getting like that last match win is often something like, between like 6 and 8 points, or no, well, maybe something like that. But yeah, it's a pretty huge swing getting that last win of the week. So, to quote another APM team name, all points matter, and all points are certainly mattering for Aussie Pro Mafia so far, as they find themselves 4th in Black Conference, but certainly not out of it. Only a few points back of the second place F2L right now. And as for Staff of the Four Dubs, looking quite good so far, averaging 20 points per week, and have already kind of cemented themselves as the top team in Black.
For sure. Now, Azalea, why don't you tell me a bit more about this one?
Sure. So like we mentioned for Player of the Week, I again another the very creative lineup from Owl. The Naga Priest I kind of knew about because him and Donkey had talked about it in the server. I know Owl is a big proponent of playing a Naga and then playing a spell and something happening. So there's the Demon Hunter and the Mage. And I know for a fact that he took another player by surprise by bringing Naga Mage this last week. I think both of these teams, like, this is a close match. I could see this being a potential playoff matchup. I don't really see APM struggling the whole way through the season. They're too good based on last season, I would imagine that they're they're just getting a little warmed up, and they'll get in there in the next couple of weeks. They're like Chicken mentioned, they're 3 points off of second place. They're right in the race. But for Copa's team, really well done, starting 2-0.
For sure. Now, let's take a look at the standings. Geranium, how does Pro end after this match for the week?
Of course, looking at Black Conference, as you can see on screen, Staff of the Four Dubs and Owl sits pretty at the top with 40 points to their name. Then comes F2L with 26 points for the first 2 weeks. Then right behind them is the Imp Osters, who had 25 points to start the week. Aussie Pro Mafia, not far behind at all, 23 points instead of the 26 and 25. And AFG Pros at 13 points through the first 2 weeks. Pink Conference, on the other hand, Rushy Tuna started the week off with 43 points, absolutely monstrous score through the first 2 weeks, but not that far behind. The Last Dance was at 36 points. Then Cheesemongers United at 33 points. All Possible Means a little bit further behind at 26, and finally Opportunistic Pro Players at 18. Not out.
Mm-hmm.
Any further thoughts anyone wants to share about Pro Series? All right then, I'll move us back to the main screen for our super special checkout question. And my checkout question for the night is, we have Worlds going on this week. And I'm going to motivate a bit Worlds here by asking you all, what is a deck you expect, or 2 decks you expect to see a lot at Worlds? And I'm going to start with Azalea.
Decks I expect to see at Worlds. I expect to see. I think we're gonna see Highlander Shaman, and I think we're gonna see a decent chunk of. There's a lot of like decks I could see. There's a lot of like different decks I could see going. I think we're gonna see potentially some gosh. I'll say I'll be a little spicy. I think Earthen Paladin's gonna catch on. And I think Earthen Paladin will be a deck that people bring.
Okay.
Yeah.
Geranium, what do you expect?
Man, it's really hard to gauge. I think that like this is maybe the only chance in Hearthstone history that a Plague DK could be seen at Worlds. So that's a spicy prediction for me, is that someone could bring Plague DK, despite the fact that that is, you know, it would be the same list as someone in gold bringing it. But I will say my other prediction is a rather solid one. I think maybe Plague DK, people might not believe that it's going to be brought, and so I think a Highlander Druid might be seen.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Chicken, what are 2 decks you expect to see?
I'm gonna expect to see some sort of like, I don't know what it's even. I don't even know what like the current popular Paladin deck is called now.
It's
just
generally
it's
just
like
pure pally.
It's
Just
Showdown,
like-
right?
just pure Showdown Paladin. We're gonna see something like that. We're gonna have
Of course.
we're gonna have Living Horizon in there. We're gonna have the Titan in there. There's gonna be a Prismatic Beam and some showdowns.
Wait,
Yeah,
are you
stuff
saying
like that.
Prismatic Beam is a good card?
You might say Prismatic Beam is a good card. I could venture as far as to say that. I hope
agree.
there's a Jitterbug in some of these lists. One of my favorite cards. Love Jitterbug. Maybe a
Yeah.
couple Hammers of Wrath. Imagine Hammer of Wrath in 2023. That is certainly something.
That's a shout
Even at 3 mana, like Hammer of Wrath in 2023 is still a little bit crazy to think about.
That deck will run tier if that's the case.
Yeah.
You run
6
tier.
mana tier.
But you don't run the Earthens. That's not good.
Yeah, I do think 6 mana tier or like tier in like non-Earthen Paladins is a little bit questionable. I've tried it out myself, has not felt great, so
Okay.
might be a card we see cut. But
Okay.
yeah, Hammer of Wrath, if only just to discount Garden's Grace is somehow good enough in current year, which is pretty funny to me. Because Garden's Grace is quite the card,
Rack card, yeah.
and is kind of just one of the cards carrying the Paladin class right now.
I mean, you forgot
Yeah.
to mention another one of them. In Keeper's, what was it?
Oh, Keeper's Strength,
Keeper's
of
For
course.
sure, that card is cracked.
Good enough to be banned in Arena, and it certainly deservedly so. This card is another crazy one. Has some great synergy with a lot of Paladin cards right now, like Deputization Aura, along with a lot of the buffs, of course. But yeah, Paladin is like, obviously at the competitive level is not played very much, but Paladin might be good enough to see play at Worlds finally. Oh yeah, and another deck. Oh yeah, guys. Sorry, guys. I got so caught up on playing Paladin.
Probably Nature Shaman.
I could see Nate. Yeah, I think Nature Shaman's a good
Dragon.
shout.
I mean, there's like, there's non-Highlander Dragon.
I've like been testing out Nature Shaman a bit myself, just on ladder. I think it's a terrible deck to play on ladder. But
Yeah.
in like a tournament setting, I think there's certainly some potential to it, and certainly like is obviously a deck that improves quite a bit with extensive practice and higher skilled players. So I think yeah, Max, you're probably right on the money there with Nature Shaman seeing some play at Worlds.
Okay.
Anyone has anything left to say?
Well, my question is not what we're going to see at Worlds, but whether we're going to see the Worlds players playing in THL. If Pocket Train is going to skip out on his match this
Bring it
time.
home.
I will note, if Pocket Train wins, we're going to have a world's champion in the 5 seed.
Oh yeah,
Just-
he's 1-1. Yeah, he's the only player on your team to lose a match.
Oh wow, he's really slacky.
Yeah.
It would be. I don't even know how to
Your-
describe what
Your
that would
entire
be.
team were all playing the game with like red eye. Holy cow! All right. That'd be cool to see Pocket win. There's like a lot of great players.
Yes.
Representing in this, in the World Championships.
Yeah. For sure. Anything else anyone wants to say before we end our show for the night? All right, so that is it for us tonight. I want to give a special thank you to Azalea Kari, Geranium Battle, and Super Chicken for the amazing show, the amazing content you all put out. We're going to be here again next week, probably on Tuesday. We're trying to come back on Tuesdays, but has been tough. At some point, I'm sure there's going to be a double week because of holidays. So keep your eye out, and we will see you all later. Have a great week, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Night.